Good morning, everyone. I'm Pedro, one of the founders at Apex, and today we have here Caroline Garcia. I don't think you need an introduction in Paris, in this room, but really looking forward to this conversation. Winning on the court and off the court, we're going to be focusing a little bit more off the court. On the court, Caroline is an Olympian, WTA finals winner, number 4 ranked in the world at some point, has won Grand Slams in doubles. So I think on the court, it's pretty well covered. We would like to focus a little bit more and unpack how everything that Caroline has been building outside of the court, which is Tennis Ventures, which is an amazing media company that is telling the story of tennis in a way that is perhaps less common and that a lot of fans relate with. How Caroline has successfully, at some point, invested in a WTA sanction in a tournament and successfully sold that, which is today the WTA 500 in Strasbourg. So Caroline has had a lot happen outside of the court, and that's what we're going to try and unpack today. Starting with, this is a really interesting analogy, this is particularly true in individual sports, which is in your career, your career is your first company, your first business, and you're like the CEO of your career. You have to hire the people, hire the staff, make strategic decisions, build a brand. I'm curious to how did those learnings as an athlete are transferable to what you're building today, whether it's Tennis Ventures, investing in a WTA tournament. Tell us about those learnings and if they are transferable and if they helped you today.
Thank you so much for having me. Hello, everyone. Yeah, it's tennis is a challenging sport because you arrive very young to become a professional tennis player, and you have to learn to have a good team around you. But sometimes you are maybe 18 years old, 20, so you don't really even know yourself, and you have to know how to hire a coach or with which agent you should work with. And sometimes it's very tricky because you're doing that at the same time as it's your most important moment of your career. It's the start, and you have to start strong because we know a career in sport has a time limit, and you have to arrive as early as possible. So I think I learned a lot through the year to manage my team and with who I can work better. And also you learn how to schedule your tournament, where you should play, when you should stop, to listen to your body. So I think obviously it's a lot of important knowledge for now in my career, and also later to be a better entrepreneur, a better, how to manage a company. But obviously, I learned a lot in the past 2 years with Tennis Insider Club, with my partner in the company, my husband. We do it together, and I need to learn, about finance, about how to sell better our platform and how to make it more where players come and trust us. So obviously it's still a learning in process, but I'm having a lot of fun. I'm learning a lot. Tennis gave me the opportunities that I can choose what I want to do. I can be curious about which direction I want to go to, and I think that's where I'm very lucky, and I'm having a great time.
The highlight, I think, this sometimes may happen unconsciously, which is in your professional career as an athlete, you make thousands of really important decisions throughout the tournament, right? And in business, it's the same. You have to make a lot of important decisions with a lot of pressure every day, every week. And maybe and consciously, maybe you are super comfortable with those in the business realm because you've been training for that as an athlete. So I think that's very, very interesting. At Apex, we call something which is the timing paradox for an athlete, which is usually peak performance comes at the exactly same time as your peak commercial relevance, meaning that an athlete is performing really well and they are also at their peak of commercial relevance. And that's usually when you have access to more opportunities. but it's also the time where you should be focusing more and more time and doubling down on your sporting performance. So there is a bit of a clash, an intersection. Did you experience that intersection? I mean, you were still competing when you bought the license in Lyon. You were still competing when you started Tennis Ventures. How do you manage sporting performance and the opportunities that come at you? Talk us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think you said it very well. Most of the time, when your results are very strong and you're having a great result and great performance, it's also when opportunity comes. I come from a generation where sometimes you heard a lot that, oh, you have to be fully focused on tennis, you have to give 100%, you cannot do anything outside, and you will have opportunity after your career. You have to capitalize on what you are doing. Obviously, we know Serena Williams and Maria Sharapova were kind of the first player to be able to do both things at the same time, and they did it great. And I think with the experience from those players, and also now all the social media and everything, players are more and more aware that they have to take opportunity while they are still competing. And for me, I had the opportunity to invest in the tournament of Lyon for 3 years. My role was really to take care of player experience and how to make this tournament better for player, how to make player come back years after years. And I learned a lot of things. Obviously, I was not able to put as much time as I would like because I was a player, and it was some tricky year for me. You know, it's not easy to manage everything, but I really loved the experience, and I'm looking forward to have it again in the future. And also, we launched Tennis Insider Club end of 2023, went live beginning 2024, and I was still playing. So it was a challenge to start to record episode with player with like no experience. We didn't know how players were going to react, if they were going to feel confident. And it was a success in the beginning, and now really players love coming, love to talk to us, to have like honest conversation in a judgment-free environment, which is sometimes when I was struggling, something I felt I was missing, that I wanted to be able to share a bit more my struggle, my mental health issues, my food disorder, but I felt sometimes it was hard to go on the media, talk about it, being honest without feeling judged. And I'm really having a great time doing it, you know, to be able to learn so much for other players, former players, coaches, because they went through similar stories than me, but a little bit different, and maybe they had learnings that I didn't have the chance to have. And now we have great conversation, and being able to share it with other players, to young players, coaches, parents, I think it's really something that can bring a lot and will make maybe a more balanced generation.
For those who haven't seen Tennis Insider, I really recommend it. It's a platform where athletes can open up about stuff that they don't speak about during their official media duties. And there's a lot of learnings in there. There's a lot of like insights that are not known, not public information. And I think you were probably one of, like, you as an athlete are in a unique position to build and create something like Tennis Ventures. You know, Apex, we invest in sports-related businesses. If there was a founder that was an experienced media executive with a lot of experience in podcasts, or an athlete starting what you've started, I don't know which founder I would back, but I would probably back the athlete, because you are in a position, you have access to information, and you are in a position that nobody else is. So Tennis Insider, I'd like to talk a little bit about that. How did the idea come about? It's been 2, 3, 4, almost 3 years since you've started. Tell us about the journey of Tennis Insider. What's the mission behind it? What's the vision? And yeah, I think it's a great venture.
Yeah, it started because I felt like I didn't really have that platform I could trust, where I could really be honest about my feeling, what I was going through without being judged. And also, you know, sometimes with social media now, players or athletes get a lot of criticism, but sometimes also because fans doesn't understand what is really going through behind the scene. And when you start to be more open, more honest, you get a lot of more compassion. People understand you better, and they also cheer for you more, support you more, because you have been honest and humble. And I think, our conversation goes around success, stress, fears, confidence, mental health problem, family, how to go through ups and downs in a career, and all the doubt you can have during those tough moments after tough losses. How do you manage tough losses? We can see how women and men manage it a little bit different. And I went through that, same as our guests most of the time on the podcast, and that makes really like deep conversation because we understand each other, and to be able to share it to the world and to the fan, I think it's really meaningful. And for me, it's a chance, and I'm very grateful for this experience to be able to help players to do it and to be more open to their own fans. And I'm learning so much.
And you understand that, if there was anybody else trying to build Tennis Insider, they would invite, the top-ranked athletes to come on the show, and they would probably say no. And if you can bring that IP, you anchor that IP because of who you are, and as soon as you can get that IP on the show, it attracts eyeballs. And then as soon as you have a lot of eyeballs, you can start to get creative in terms of how you monetize those eyeballs. Is it through streams, through sponsorship? I know that in the past you've spoken about, you've done some live episodes around tennis tournaments, so you're now entering also the live event space. What is the vision, you would say, for Tennis Ventures, Tennis Insider, and how do you see it growing?
Well, we started while I was still a tennis player, so we had limited time. So we were really trying to record with players as much as we can in tournament, matching my schedule, their schedule, which is very tricky in tennis, as you always know last minute at what time you're going to play. But now, since September last year, I retired for the court, so Tennis Insider Club is our priority, and we are really trying to grow it as much as we can with our normal episode, but also doing some live event in tournament and trying to make it bigger and bigger, obviously, with more time. Obviously, the goal in the future is to have good sponsor to monetize it and make money like everyone wants to try it, but that's not our main goal. It's really to show what really tennis is about and what is a person and the human being behind to help fans connect to their favorite players better. And that's our main goal, it's like to really give back to tennis what it brought me. And but it's really interesting to be able to open that behind the scenes side to the fans, and keep going in that direction with spending more and more time on the project and making grow with a good sponsor and good values around it.
I agree. I think mission first, and the business will follow. Apex, the company that I'm a part of, we invest in sports, and this is a good follow-up to the Tennis Insider story. Every time we are heavily backed by professional athletes. We work with over 150 professional athletes that want to invest in sports, the sector that they understand better than anyone. And we started Apex on the back of a very simple idea, which is athletes investing in sports, similar to how Caroline was the perfect person to invest in a WTA sanction a few years ago. When we start to look at a sport, say for example tennis, we need to create a strong conviction around tennis. We need to understand the ins and outs of tennis. And most investors will have access to public information. Apex, we tap into the athlete community to access information that is not available to our competitors. This gives us a very strong deal-winning ability to underwrite and create value creation plans in a way that perhaps other investors cannot. Recently, we have been spending some time looking at tennis, and of course, one of my first calls, I called Caroline, and Caroline introduced me to her network. She told me what makes a great tournament great, what how an athlete decides to attend this tournament rather than this tournament, player experience, calendar flow, concepts that are perhaps available to everyone, but the insights, the degree of insights that Caroline shared with us allowed our investment team to synthesize a conviction that is very proprietary to us. So I wanted to first of all highlight that and thank you for that. And I don't think sometimes athletes understand the level of insight that they have, how proprietary that is, and how relevant that is if you're investing in sports. So Caroline, do you realize, have you started to realize like all of these abilities that you have created and gathered through your career? Are you now deploying those learnings in Tennis Ventures, in Tennis Insider, apologies, and everything else that you do? How do you see the value of an athlete being an active investor in sports?
Listening to you, I think I understand better. You know, I think being more than 15 years on tour, there are some things I know about tennis and how a player choose their schedule, but I take it for granted. You know, for me, it's like instinct, and it's really I'm really happy to be able to have this conversation together to understand better how to make a better tournament for obviously the players first, but also that the tournament and the organization are happy with the investment they did. They can find some positive financially about it, and also that fans have great experience, you know. I think it's the three together that are really important for a tournament and that sells better our tour, WTA, ATP, and Grand Slams. And we have to work all together to make it happen. And when I had the experience with Lyon tournament, for me it was really important to be focused on the player experience, to make them comfortable, because through my time on tour, there is tournament I like better going back, or I had a better time there. And I know that when I was feeling comfortable, I was obviously feeling more ready to compete. And that's what I'm looking for, is like to be ready to compete, to go as far as I can in the tournament. And to be able to share this experience with you who wants to be involved in tennis, make a good tournament. I know that my fellow player will be happy to go in a tournament like this where they can feel they can compete. And it's true sometimes when you have been for so long in a sport or in an industry, you take something you know for granted, but taking more experience and opening up more my knowledge about business and everything, I understand that this knowledge is very important, and to be able to share it and to be open to opportunity can really help grow the sport.
I couldn't agree more. My last question, a bit of a personal question. I would like also congratulations. Caroline is expecting her first child with her husband Borja, that is here in the room as well. Congratulations for that.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
You know, tennis is not my expertise in terms of sport, but I think everybody was kind of surprised that you retired early. And I know the theme here is winning off the court, and I think winning off the court is not just deals and endorsements. It's also building a personal life that you're very proud of. And it's very tough. I watch Tennis Insider, so I know this. It's very tough for athletes to pursue a professional tennis career. There's a lot of sacrifice. I think for women, there is another layer of complexity, which is building a family. What would you say to young girls that want to make they want to turn into pro tennis stars, but they are also conscious about, you know, these complexities that will come with that pursuit? So I would love to close the panel with your thoughts on this and just congratulating you.
Thank you.
And I think you're a great example, but tell us a little bit, how did these decisions come about? What's your advice?
Yeah, when I announced my decision to retire from tennis, it surprised some people. People who know me very well was not that surprised, but you know, it's really personal decision, personal feeling, and I've been on tour for many, many years. I started very young, so for me, I felt it was my time to open a new chapter of my life. Obviously, tennis brought me so much, but I got married last year, and we had the dream to build a family, and we are a few months from welcoming our first child, so it means a lot for me. And with the time, I understood that obviously your tennis result, your ranking is part of success, but it's not only the only success you will have in life. And there is different chapter, and you can get success from many different things. But I will say to the young girls who want to make it that you have to dream big, you have to try your best, but you have to be aligned also with your values and who you want to be after your career, that you don't get lost in the process. And obviously becoming a mom is something very important to many women out there who are athletes or involved in business. And sometimes it's hard to make everything work together. WTA last year launched a maternity fund. And it's really a big help for all the tennis players who want to become a mom with the goal to come back after. And I think we are very lucky in tennis that they are trying to be innovative and really helping us in that direction. And for me, the plan is not to come back for now at all, but we are very lucky, and women's tennis in women's sport is really a leading sport, and that's one part of what they are doing very well in WTA. So I'm very proud to be part of this organization for so many years, and I'm really looking forward to the future.
Thank you, and we're out of time. I'd just like to congrats SportGen on the first edition of this amazing event, and we'll look forward to many more years of it, and enjoy the rest of the 2 days. And Caroline, thank you very much.
Thanks, Pedro,
for everything.
Thank you.